The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. It's another fine day. Sure, why wouldn't it be? Anyway, we got a mail here. It says the corporate culture paradox, or is it? It's always a spicy thing to put on your mail. Things like, could this be an amazing offer for you, or is it? Actually, you got to be more definitive than that. Like, woke is destroying all comics, or is it? See, that's the kind of thing that draws people in. Anyway, the mail goes, hello, Perchadomer Perchinsky. This is the Invisible Sulk. Please just refer to me as that. Okay. I have a question I know isn't strictly about comics. Well, it's a good thing this isn't a comic channel. But the issue it's about is strongest in comics. You often tackle things from a business perspective, which this is about, and you even did a related video this morning. Okay. It's about corporate culture versus mass culture across cultures. That's a lot of culture in one place. It's a big old culture orgy at this point. We got culture bukkake all over them. Anyway, Japan is largely a shame culture and a face culture. It's also a culture of, yes means no, yes means maybe, and no means no. Anyway, very, very, very tough to navigate. Where people generally aren't expected to be open about their personal faults, right? The United States, on the other hand, is largely a guilt culture, and what I'll call a conscience culture, where being open about one's personal faults is seen as an important sign of humility. However, this mainly applies to attitudes among the masses. Corporate culture in these two cultures is, in a way, the opposite. In Japan, producers are generally very apologetic if their products fail to impress substantial customers. While in the US, producers tend to view the apologizing as a sign of weakness. How is this possible? Is there more to the story than explains this apparent paradox? Hope this works out. Okay. We're talking business culture. So the basic premise there is, in Japan, if there's a failure, and this can be anything from a game didn't work, or a particular restaurant wasn't up to the standards of the customer, or even like something like, you're in the train and the train is late through no fault of the rail company and the train. I've watched it where, people will go and kind of jump into the train track, and the train doesn't slow down. So, but it can cause damage to the train and is late. And you will see kind of people in the station like come out and bow and ask for apology for their delay, even though, it was an act that had nothing to do with it. But this is very much a Japanese thing. It's like, was there a problem? We apologize. Was there a situation that didn't meet your expectation? We apologize. I went to a restaurant, a really good restaurant owned by one of the Iron Chefs, Sakai, I believe. It was wasn't the French. It was, it was French, Iron Chef French. I think it was the Sakai, right? Anyway, the original Iron Chef, not the stupid ass Food Channel one, but the original. The one where it was a cooking show and also super cheesy. Croissant. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, the food was late in one point coming out, not super late, just like 5 minutes late. And it turned out one of the sous chefs, one of the people, cut himself with the knife. Not the Iron Chef, God no, but one of them cut himself with the knife, and so they had to clean it up. So it made the dishes like 5 minutes late. And there was like this deep bow apology for this. And it was absurd. I didn't need the apology. I didn't want the apology. I felt more embarrassed for it. But that's very much a Japanese culture. In the US, there is that never apologize, never show weakness. You can't let them know. You can't let them see your weakness. That very much is an American culture thing. So you're seeing it right now with some of the kind of the controversies are going out, or, even there's you screw up and, you ship something, you ship food that is expired, or you've got like metal bits in the packaging, or whatever it happens to be, just something is wrong. And you get the deep, oh my goodness, I'm not, you give maybe a corporate letter, like, we regret this instance of whatever is happening here, but you do not get like CEO coming out and going, oh man, guys, we fucked up. I'm sorry for things. Instead, that is generally seen as weakness. And so that is true. Now, the counterbalance that you're talking about is society, the mass culture. Americans, they want to talk about their feelings a lot. They want to, you need to show weakness. You need to show some humility. You need to show you have flaws. very much if you're inside the corporation, one of the things they will teach you is to develop your EQ. And one of the ways that's emotional quotient. And one of the ways you do it is by admitting your flaws. You know, you can relate to me because I masturbate in the bathroom. No, I mean, not that, that's too far. You don't want to admit that flaw, but you want to admit something like, yeah, I eat that candy I shouldn't eat, or, I should go exercise, but I just wanted to go have a beer instead. That's what I do. Or, it just basically, I can't spell. They view it as ways of humanizing us. And that's very much an American thing. And in Japan, it's not really that way. You're quick to accept responsibility. You do not point out your own flaws, and there's no expectation that people do that. Now, you do see this in comics a lot. Comic companies make mistakes with comics, and they will bend over backwards and tie themselves into pretzels in order to never apologize for anything that went wrong, even though clearly they made a mistake, or something didn't land the way they should. You'll never hear Marvel go out and say, maybe One More Day wasn't the best idea for a lot of the fan base. Maybe it's not. You won't hear them say that. Where it's clearly polarized the fan base. In fact, what's puzzling about that is even CB Smolsky at C2E2 was on a panel and talked about how it was kind of Joe Quesada's idea, which for what it's worth, it's not just Joe's idea. There was a few people involved in that. It is to me, it is telling that people in Marvel, whenever confronted with all this, are like, well, we think it's the right thing for the fan base, blah 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 blah, on and on. But then they'll quickly go, that's not Joe's idea. I mean, Joe's the asshole who saddles that shit. So if you're going to be bad at someone, be mad at him, not us who continue to do it. Be mad at somebody else. But you definitely see this in comics, and you see comic creators posting bizarrely goofball things on Twitter, in social media, and in public. And you see them posting, I am crazy. I can't stop eating. I have a compulsion to, not read solicitations and instead just troll the internet for things I don't need. James Tinian, who's like, instead of trying to get a summer boyfriend, what if I just play Zelda? I mean, it's this weird humanizing stuff. By the way, as an aside, James Tinian has a girlfriend. Has had one for like 8 years, right? Actually, that's not a question. Yeah, he does. So what is all this like? How am I going to go cruise for a summer boyfriend? I don't know. I mean, I'm not prying into your life. I'm just asking the questions I seems kind of seems kind of weird. He's like, wander up to people in a gay bar near my house in a few weeks, saying, "Please help me get past this difficult bit in Zelda. We can kiss a bit too, I guess." In front of your girlfriend? Is your girlfriend involved in the kiss? Is it a trouble situation? I mean, I don't know. You know how it goes. Anyway, sorry, that was an aside. I have a feeling that's the bit that everybody's going to comment on in this video, though. Anyway, no, there's a I don't know if it's a paradox or hypocrisy or whatever it happens to be, but I will say that Japanese companies do not need to apologize as much as they do. It's not needed. And similarly, American companies would go a long way to express it, to gaining some trust if they just once in a while admitted they fucked up. Nobody expects you to be 100% correct. People visiting this channel they only expect it to be 1% correct. So I was correct about that girlfriend of James, though. Just sorry. I'm off track again. Just in general. And by the way, similarly, probably be good if, the Japanese population was a little bit less repressed about admitting their own flaws. And it'd probably be good if, good old Americans would shut the fuck up about their flaws every once in a while. We don't need to hear about them every 5 minutes. But there you go. Thank you much for the email and the observation. It's a good one. What do you think of all this? Are you repressed? Do you keep it to yourself? Do you put it out in the open somewhere in between? Let me know in the comments below. And certainly don't ask about that bit there in the middle toward the end. That's just me being crazy, because I am crazy. That's one of the things about me. It's charming how crazy I am with crazy things I say. Thanks for listening.
And if you don't like my politics, don't buy my book. Problem solved.